Welcome, everybody. You're listening to Rocking with the Movies, and you are here with Shane Comley-White, and we've got a special guest as Simon Rhee. He is an actor and a choreographer, 7th Dan Taekwondo, 4th Dan Hapkido, and we are going to be going back in time discussing an older movie from 1989, which is Best of the Best. Welcome, Simon. Thank you so much for spending time with us, and we're looking forward to hearing everything that you've got to say.
All right, here, I'm Simon Rhee. You're listening to Rocking at the Movies with Shane Comley-White.
Thank you so much for that. That's brilliant. Okay, going back in time, like I said, we're going back to 1989, Best of the Best 1. I don't know if you can recall that movie. I don't know if it was one of your first earlier movies that you've done. I'd just like to find out some information about what you, as the team, as the choreographer, as the stuntman, and all the actual actors went through to prepare for all those different fight scenes for the movie.
So for this movie, what my brother did was very, very brilliant.
Yeah.
He hired all Korean team members. They were all martial artists. They were all black belts.
Right.
But American team, only person that was really good with martial art was my brother and Chris Penn, Sean Penn's brother,
Yes.
who passed away.
Yeah, sure.
So he knew how to do some martial art. All the other guys were good actors.
Okay.
So we used their acting ability and martial art ability, and we mixed it.
That's brilliant.
So, yeah, wasn't it? That was my brother's idea.
That's actually very, very unique, because I've never thought of having all of the different real martial artists joining the training for the movie itself and teaching the actors how to do it.
Yeah.
And yourself, what level were you at the time?
I believe I was 5th or 6th degree black belt, because I got my 7th degree black belt on year 2000.
Okay.
So yeah, I was either 5th or 6th. I don't even remember anymore.
Shame. So your brother wasn't
Yeah.
anyone with experience in martial arts there. It was also you.
For me, degree doesn't make a man.
No, it doesn't.
You know, so that's why I don't really care too much. I don't even like it when people call me master, and I just go no, I'm Simon.
Brilliant. I was about to ask, how should I respond to you, or how should I recognize you as master or so?
Just call me Simon.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, now you played DAE HAN in the movie. Now DAE HAN was traditionally a Korean actor. A Korean martial arts professional. And how did you actually get into the character or the mindset of that kind of person, who obviously was a professional fighter?
So what happened was when when we were making this movie, first of all, Tommy Lee, who is my brother,
Yes.
Phillip Rhee. So we kind of look alike because we are brothers.
Is that what the eye patch was for?
Exactly. That's why I had to grow a goatee. I had to get an eye patch, and I had to get a shorter haircut so that we a look alike.
Okay.
So we had to first create DAE HAN that looked completely different from my brother. So
Yes.
that was the first thing we had to achieve. And second thing was, at the end, when I deliver my lines to my brother, I was supposed to deliver that in Korean.
Okay.
And Sally Kirkland, who was the American coach, she was supposed to translate that to my brother.
Right.
But that day, she wasn't feeling good.
Okay.
So my brother came up and I've been practicing, delivering this line in Korean just all day. And then my brother comes up to me in the morning and goes, Simon, Sally's not feeling good, so you have to deliver your line in broken English now.
Broken English. That's even worse.
So it just totally caught me off guard. And somehow that worked out better.
Well,
Because, I was able to deliver that line with broken English, and my emotion just came over me, and I was able to just, deliver it to my brother. And it just the way it happened was just automatic. It was so natural. I didn't, because I wasn't planning to do it that way.
Yeah.
And it just came out, and I was crying, and my brother was crying, and next thing I know, Eric Roberts was over there. He is crying, and
Yep.
it just worked out really, really well.
Well, it definitely made the scene. So I'm glad that it was in English rather than Korean, or else none of us would have been able to understand it, or parts of it there. And then how do you compare yourself to Dae Han? Because obviously you do competitions and you're also a professional competitor. So how do you relate to Dae Han at all, or the intensity that he goes through? Or he went through?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I've competed. Competed so much in mid 70s to mid 80s for about 10, 15 years. I competed almost every weekend.
Yeah.
And I love doing forms and I love sparring. But I never had that mean streak like Dae Han did,
Thank goodness, actually.
So Dae Han was something that, I had to create a person that everyone hated first. The audience had to hate me.
Yes.
And so that wasn't me at all, because I think of myself as a pretty gentle person. And so it was a little stretch for me, but somehow it all worked out. The goatee, the eye patch, the way I was portraying the bad guy, it just all kind of came as a package, and it all worked out.
Because I do remember the one specific part, and when I found out that you two were brothers, it actually kind of got to me a little bit, because it's like, how do you act that way, where in the early ages of Phillip Rhee or Tommy Lee, let's say that, when he remembered back where you, as Dae Han, killed his brother. That to me was so confusing to understand, that you are his brother, but you killed his brother, So it's a little bit of a trick.
Yeah.
And then the fight scenes between you and your brother, how did that actually all come about? Did you work it out together, or did you come up with everything, or was it quite an intense workout?
What happened was, we always had this little bit of a demonstration piece where me and my brother, we would do a little bit of a fighting demonstration piece. So, and those pieces are in the movie, like some of the inside crescent kicks that we exchange, triple kicks and things like that. So we used some of the demonstration pieces that we always had, and then we added more elements to it. And so that's how the fight scene came about.
So just built up from what you've already done in the past. Okay,
yes.
Perfect. And how long did it actually take to do that scene? Because it was quite an intense scene with a lot of different angles and a lot of fantastic kicks, I
think our fight scene took a day and a half.
Is that it?
To shoot the whole thing, including the ending scene, So that was, we did not have, I think, and all the other fighters had like one day to shoot their fight scenes out.
Jeez. But that's actually not a lot of time. If you think about a lot of the other movies where it takes maybe a week to do one fight scene or something like that,
Exactly. So what happened was, because all the Korean team, members were martial artists, so I've worked with my brother, James Liu, who's a good friend of mine, who fought Eric Roberts. He worked with Eric Roberts on his fight. And all the other martial artists, they worked with their actors.
Okay.
So that everyone was ready when their time came. So
Yeah.
that's why we were able to get away with one day shoot.
No, that's brilliant though, because it's great to see that it was quite fluid rather than broken up too much, And I'm going to be honest, every time I prepared myself for a tournament or a grading even, I used to watch that movie the night before as a bit of an inspiration to, and I've even tried to mimic some of the techniques that you guys delivered, just because I thought they would, first of all, work, and they did. But it was something that I did when I was younger as well. So huge inspiration for me. So I definitely have to say that. And then just going back to the other movies, the other best of the best movies. You've been involved in them. Obviously, number 2, you were the brother. You came back as the adopted brother in a way, or the honorable brother, and you came to help Tommy Lee get out of the Coliseum or to defend him there. And you were also involved in the other movies, hey? Or is it just more of a choreography side?
On number 3 and 4, I was a stunt coordinator and fight choreographer too. But I have to tell you a funny story on number 2.
Yes, all ears.
So I didn't have very much dialogue
Okay.
in Best of the West 2. Only dialogue I had was in a nightclub when the guy with the big, cowboy
Yes.
head goes, "Hey, where you from, boy?"
Houston.
You remember that?
Of course I
right?
remember.
So this is what Eric Roberts told me.
Hmm.
He comes up to me and Eric goes, "Hey, Simon, how are you going to deliver this line?"
Yeah.
I said, "Houston." He goes, "No, don't do it that way." I said, "Why not?" He goes, "I want you to butcher this line as bad as you can.
Mhm.
Just butcher it." I said, "Why, Eric?" He goes, "Trust me. I trust you when you teach me martial arts. Please trust me when I teach you acting technique." And I said, "Okay, Eric, I'm going to do it." So I did it. Eric knew ahead of time, if I butcher that line, people would remember it because it wasn't just normal Houston, like Houston,
Definitely.
So even you
Of
remembered
course
it.
I remember it. Yeah,
That
brilliant.
was the funny. Yeah.
Jeez, okay, so I wouldn't even thought that, that you've been coached by Eric to say this is how you should and shouldn't do it. It's very interesting to know the background stories of how movies are made. So it's brilliant.
And also, you remember my first technique on Best of the Best 1? I did a Superman punch.
Yes, yes.
So now it's super popular in UFC and everywhere,
And you come
right?
through and you do that punch on the side. Yeah, I know that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. So, everyone's been telling me, "Oh, Simon, we started this Superman punch, style." But in actuality, my team coach in the movie, Master Hee Cho,
Yeah,
he's the one who told me to do that technique.
okay.
Yeah, he told me, "Simon, your first technique, I want you to do a jumping reverse punch." And how can I say no to Master Cho? I said, "Yes, sir." And I
Of
did
course,
it.
yeah.
That punch became a huge popular punch.
It's
So
amazing.
it's interesting. Yeah.
It's amazing how little things get picked up. And I haven't used it in a tournament personally. I do use the spinning back fist, which to me works exceptionally well, personally. Um, but I've always looked at that and said, yeah, I'd love to be able to do that. I've done a jumping elbow once.
Okay.
And I've also been knocked out with a jumping elbow at the same time. So, but it happens. And then, if you don't mind, let's move on to one of the other movies that you're busy dealing with, or that's going to be launched very soon, which is called The Doorman. Um, are you part
Yeah.
of that as an actor, or just the stuntman as well, or?
No, I was a stunt coordinator for that movie, and my job was to teach Ruby Rose
Yes.
how to fight in this movie. And my brother introduced me to this director named Ruhei Kitamura.
Okay.
And he's a very, very famous and popular director from Japan. He did Godzilla, he did Versus, and then in United States, he made a movie called Midnight Train 2.
Okay.
No, what is it called? Midnight Meat Train. It's a horror flick.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
And yeah, so anyway, so I got together with him, and he asked me to do this movie with him. And first time we were in Ottawa, Canada, to make this movie, and I think they spent close to $2 million prepping it. And then somehow one of the investors fell out, so that movie stopped. And then a year later, they got all their finance together. But then this time, we had to go to Romania to make this movie. And first time, it was supposed to be Katie Holmes.
Okay.
And then because the movie fell apart, so when final time came to make this movie, Ruby Rose got attached.
Okay.
And Ruby Rose was just coming off Orange is New Black. She was a new Batwoman. What we didn't know and what she didn't know is she had a crack on her neck, one of the vertebrae. So she didn't know that, and we were working. And when you do fight scenes, you gotta snap your necks. Yeah. And one time she snapped it, and she felt something bad. So she went and got an MRI and found out there was a crack there. So she came back and said, I'm so sorry, but I'm not supposed to be moving my neck in a fight scene anymore. So it made the movie like so much more difficult to make, to make sure that she doesn't get hit in the face. Most of the time, if she was going to get hit, it was going to be to the body shot and things like that. So we had to adjust. But she worked so hard, with her condition. I mean, you could see her sometime after a few takes, she's just so tired. She's just laying down, and I would go over, I would give her a little massage and get her back up. And we worked hard for like 2 months, and we completed this film. And it's going to be released in October 9th, and the releasing company is very, very happy. I haven't seen the movie yet, but the producers who've seen it are telling me the action scenes in this movie is just incredibly excellent. So I hope you guys get to see it at the same time as I do. And I hope you guys enjoy the movie.
Is it a worldwide release at the same time, or is it going to be split, or don't you know yet?
So all I know is because all the movie theaters are still closed in the United States. So everything is being released on video on demand.
Okay.
So it should be on video on demand from October 9th. That's all I know.
That should be worldwide, which is quite good. Yeah, we're battling with this whole COVID-19 lockdown, and it's actually so frustrating. But we all have to be safe. We all have to be cautious and careful. I'm desperately trying to go back to training and start teaching again, but we can't because our halls are also closed down. So
my studio is closed. Yeah, my studio has been closed for 6 months now, and I still have to pay rent every month.
Terrible,
so it's terrible. But luckily, have you heard of a TV show called Lucifer?
Yes. You're also doing that.
So I just got hired as a stunt coordinator for Lucifer. So I'm going to be handling all the actions from season 6, and I'm going to be busy until middle of February.
Wow.
So that's a blessing.
Quite a challenge, but congratulations on getting that contract. That's brilliant. You're more than welcome to hire some of us South Africans whenever you need, if you need extras.
I would love to, but you have to belong to, Screen Actors Guild and things like that.
No, of course, I understand that, okay, so that's going to be released on the 9th of October, you say?
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to try to get everyone to look out for that and keep an eye out for what's happening with that. And as a martial artist, what does it take for someone like you to become a stunt coordinator or a stuntman or even a martial arts fighting coordinator in the movies? Obviously, you have to be registered with the Actors Guild, but anything else? What would you do to start pursuing that?
First of all, master one style first. You should definitely get a black belt in certain style first, instead of just jumping around all over the place. So for me, I got my black belt in Tae Kwon Do.
Yeah.
And then after that, I started learning Hapkido. And then after that, I started learning Wing Chun. After that, I started learning Judo. After that, started learning boxing. After that, I started learning Jiu-Jitsu. And then after that, I started learning Filipino martial arts. So you have to have all this knowledge so that when director goes, Simon, okay, there's an example I'll tell you. I was hired as a fight coordinator on Terminator Genesis. And when I got there, the producer goes, I like the fight scene like Matrix. I was like, oh. Okay.
It's a challenge.
Terminator? Yeah. I was like, okay. And then a director comes and he goes, oh, I like the fight scene from The Raid. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, okay, a little bit of Silat. And then another producer goes, oh, I like the fight scene from Ip Man. Mm-hmm. I was like, what? Ip Man? Wing Chun and Terminator? So my first fight scene that I created, I try to please everybody by putting in a little bit of Ip Man, put a little bit of a Raid, a little bit of Matrix. And all three of them goes, what is this? Terminator don't fight like this. And I'm going, I was trying to tell you that, you know.
Yeah.
So we had to change everything. But it's always good to know many different styles so that you could adapt. So but make sure you master in one style first. And a second thing, like you know, it took me 11 years to join the Screen Actors Guild.
Sure.
1975 was my first movie I ever done in Los Angeles. And this movie was called Bruce Lee Fight Back from the Grave.
I've heard of that. I haven't seen it yet. I must actually go watch it.
Oh my goodness, you heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
So that was my Tae Kwon Do instructor in Los Angeles, Master Jun Chong. He was starring in it. And me and my brother were just visiting my aunt. Because at that time we lived in San Francisco and we're in Los Angeles visiting my aunt during Thanksgiving weekend. So Master Jun Chong goes, "Oh, Simon, Phillip, come over. I'm making this movie. Play a bad guys." So like, sure.
Just for you.
So it was it was non-union movie. It was a Korean director. So me and my brother, we went and we did a little fighting with my instructor. And surprisingly, 1 year later, that movie was released in Hollywood. Jeez. And we were able to see it on a big screen. And I saw myself kicking, I saw my brother kicking, and I was like, wow, I want to do this. So that was 1975. It was until 1986 I was able to join the Screen Actors Guild because I didn't know anybody in Los Angeles. So make sure you have good martial arts skills, make sure you have a good attitude, make sure you're humble, make sure you don't lie, but also at the same time, it's always good to know a lot of people.
Yeah.
So when you go out, meet people and try to make those connections, because that's really, really important in Hollywood.
No, definitely, I can imagine that. And then last point that we're going to touch on, if you don't mind, if you have to give advice to a new student who wants to join a martial art, regardless of which one it is, and or a current martial artist, what would your advice be for a new student as well as a current one for reaching their goals that they are embarking on? If you've got any advice.
Well, this is what I tell all my students when they come. When they first come to the studio, I don't want them to bow. Even though when they come in, they see all the other students bowing, but they don't know why they're bowing, or they don't know why they're calling me master, and they don't know why they have to say yes, sir, no, sir, all these formalities. So I tell everybody when they start, I said, I'm going to start teaching you how to kick and punch and how to fight. And if that's all I teach you, it's in human nature that you become aggressive.
Yes.
So for me to make you a perfect and balanced human being, if I teach you how to be aggressive, I have to teach you how to be humble. So that's the reason why when you come inside the studio, we bow. That's why when I talk to you, you say, yes, sir, no, sir. That's why when you address me, you address me, Master Rhee. But as soon as you go outside the studio, you don't have to do that, but only inside the studio so that you become a balanced person. So that's what I try to teach everybody at my studio. And I noticed that once they understand that concept, we become family. And I have students that's been with me for 40 years. And my student has been there for 40 years. And it's been working. And I think that's the key.
And that's a key. Well, I think we might have the same mindset when it comes to that as well, because I say the same thing to my students as well. It's like, don't treat me the same in class as you would outside class. Outside class, I'm a completely different person. Inside class, I'm the instructor that's gone through the levels of hard work and the blood, sweat, and tears. And that's where the level of respect, I need to earn their respect first rather than just demand it.
Absolutely. Yes.
So it's I've dealt with other instructors, obviously not going to name names or anything else like that, but they dictate that you should respect them. And for me, that's a bad sign as an instructor.
Yes, I agree with you.
Which is a bit sad, but it's all good. At least there's different elements, different kinds of instructors like you out there, which is brilliant. And lastly, how can the fans, any new fans in here in South Africa or around the world, start following you, what social platforms do you have?
I have Instagram, Simon Rhee, and then Facebook
Okay.
and Twitter.
Is that it?
That's it.
The normal, straightforward, simple ones.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. What I'm going to do then is on our channel, we're going to be putting all of the different links and um, pathways to the actual social media. Hope you don't mind. You might be getting quite a few more followers, and it's always a good thing,
No
I
problem.
suppose.
I have one question for you.
Yes.
About 20, maybe 25 years ago, I had a student who lived in South Africa.
Yeah.
And he came and trained at my studio, and he lived at my studio for like a few months before he went back.
Okay.
His name is, he went by JP Camara.
I've heard of him. JP.
You have?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Wow. Is he still around?
If you want, I can try find him for you and maybe just send a message to him or even get him to get hold of you.
Tell him I said hello, and it's been a long time.
I'll definitely do that. That's wow. Okay, that's quite an honor for. I wish I was him. Put it that way. Where I had the opportunity to train under you, it would be brilliant. And then just anything else that you'd like to let the listeners or the viewers know about yourself, about what you teach, about who you are, anything else?
No, I don't like to talk about myself, but we're living in a different world now.
Yes.
So take care of yourself, stay healthy, because that's the most important thing in our lives.
Especially now,
and be happy.
Be happy. That's a very good point. We have to all be happy. But Simon, thank you so very, very much. It's been a great honor. I would like to know if you'd be open to do more interviews down the line for any other movies, if you've got anything else coming up.
Sure. Sounds great.
I'll keep in contact with you and just keep letting the listeners and viewers and the fans know what you're up to.
Great, will do.
But thank you so very, very much. And we look forward to watching your new movie, The Doorman.
Sounds great. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Simon. Keep up.
Okay.